Welcome, Warriors, to another episode of the Modern Warrior Podcast. This is your host, Shane Blevins, and we're here with episode 4 of our ongoing series, Bugout Considerations. Today, we're going to discuss a topic that's often overlooked, but absolutely crucial: fuel. That's right, we're talking about keeping extra fuel stored and rotating it regularly. Now, when we say fuel, we're not just talking about gasoline for your bug-out vehicle. Fuel can include propane for your cooking gear, batteries for your electronics, and even wood for your fire. All these things are essential for survival and need to be considered in your bug-out plan. So let's delve a bit deeper into this. When we talk about fuel, we're really talking about energy sources. These are the things that power our journey, our equipment, our survival. And each type of fuel has its own specific uses and considerations, not just for your initial bug out, but also for your journey and your final destination. Before we hit on today's topic, I want to take a moment to talk about the Modern Warrior Project. Whether you're a seasoned prepper, a military enthusiast, or someone just starting on their preparedness journey, our website is a treasure trove of resources designed to equip you with the knowledge and tools you need to face any challenge that comes your way. We're not just about information, though. At the Modern Warrior Project, we understand that having the right gear can make all the difference when the chips are down. That's why we offer a carefully curated selection of bug-out gear and survival equipment in our online store. From first aid kits to tactical backpacks, our products are chosen for their quality, durability, and cost saving for you, the consumer. By purchasing from us, you're not only getting top-notch gear, you're also supporting our mission to educate and empower individuals to be prepared, resilient, and ready to respond when disaster strikes. So after today's podcast, I encourage you to head over to our website at modernwarriorproject.com and check out what we have to offer. Remember, preparation is the key to survival, and we're here to help you every step of the way. Now let's get started with today's topic. Let's start with gasoline. Your bug-out vehicle serves as your lifeline in a survival situation, and gasoline is its lifeblood. However, the process is not as simple as just filling up the tank and setting off. There are multiple factors to consider. Firstly, consider the distance of your journey. How far is your bug-out location? Does your vehicle have the fuel capacity to reach there on a single tank of gas? If not, you'll need to calculate how much extra fuel you'll need. Secondly, consider the terrain you'll be traversing. Mountainous or rough terrains will consume more fuel than smooth, flat roads. Likewise, if you're driving in a city with stop-and-go traffic, your fuel efficiency will be lower than driving on a highway. If your journey requires more than a tank of gas, you'll need to carry extra. But how much extra should you carry? This depends on the factors we've discussed: distance, terrain, and vehicle efficiency. Always aim to carry a bit more than you calculate to account for unforeseen circumstances. Lastly, remember that gasoline isn't evergreen. It has a shelf life. If stored improperly, gasoline can degrade over time, reducing its effectiveness. If you're storing gasoline, ensure it's in a properly sealed, approved container and stored in a cool, dry place away from living areas. Regularly rotate your stock to ensure the gasoline is fresh when you need it. So when it comes to gasoline, it's not just about having a full tank. It's about understanding your vehicle, your journey, and your fuel needs. It's about careful planning and preparation. After all, in a survival situation, your bug-out vehicle is your ticket to safety, and gasoline is what keeps it moving. Now let's talk propane. Propane is a compact and efficient fuel source, and its versatility is a huge benefit for those of us that prep. It can be used for a range of activities, from cooking and heating to providing light. Let's start with cooking. If you're on the move, you'll need to prepare meals. The amount of propane you'll need will depend on the number of people you're traveling with, the type of meals you plan to cook, and the efficiency of your stove. Simple one-pot meals will consume less fuel than more complex dishes. Of course, you have the option to go with Emery-style meals or food that avoids heating altogether. Either way, you'll want to consider this factor. If your bug-out location is in a cold climate, you'll need to heat your shelter. The amount of propane needed will depend on the size of your shelter, the outside temperature, and the efficiency of your heater. The great thing about propane here is you can have huge tanks pre-positioned on your land to give you a fair amount of storage. And then there's lighting. Propane lamps can provide a reliable source of light when electricity isn't an option. However, they do consume fuel, so you'll need to factor this into your calculations. Now, how much propane will you need to meet all these needs? This will depend on the factors we've discussed, as well as the duration of your stay at the bug-out location. It's always a good idea to carry or have on site a bit extra to account for unforeseen circumstances. Another huge benefit of propane is that it doesn't go bad, therefore it doesn't need to be rotated like gasoline. As for transportation, safety is paramount. Propane should be transported in approved containers and stored in a well-ventilated area away from heat sources. If possible, it would be ideal to have propane already stored at your bug-out location, ready for use when you arrive. So when it comes to propane, it's not just about having a tank or two. It's about understanding your needs, planning your usage, and ensuring safe storage and transportation. In a survival situation, propane can be an excellent resource to have on hand, providing warmth, light, and a hot meal when you need it most. Then we have batteries. Batteries are the lifeblood of our modern electronic world. They power everything from our flashlights and radios to our GPS units and even medical equipment. But not all batteries are created equal. First off, we have disposable batteries. These are your typical alkaline batteries like AA, AAA-C, D, and 9-volt. Not to mention the variety of less than typical sizes like those used in many of Surefire flashlights, your holographic sights, etc. They're cheap, readily available, and work well in a wide range of devices, but they do have a shelf life, usually around 5 to 10 years. So if you're stockpiling these, make sure you rotate them out to keep your supply fresh. Then we have rechargeable batteries. These can be a bit more expensive up front, but they're a great option for long-term use. They come in the same sizes as disposables, but they're typically nickel metal hydride or lithium ion. They can be recharged hundreds, sometimes even thousands of times, which can be a real lifesaver in a long-term survival situation. But here's the catch: to recharge these batteries, you'll need a power source. This could be a solar charger, a hand crank generator, even a car battery. So if you're planning on using rechargeable batteries, make sure you also have a reliable way to recharge them. And lastly, on the battery side of things, there are device-specific batteries. These are the ones that are designed to power specific devices like a laptop or a two-way radio. These batteries are often proprietary and can't be replaced with standard batteries. So if you're relying on a device that uses these types of batteries, make sure you have spares and a way to recharge them if possible. Unlike the 3-volt and other styles I was talking about with the Surefires, these are the ones that are often wrapped in a plastic shrink wrap and not generally intended or at least thought of to be replaced by the end user. However, they are generally fairly easy to replace and even fine with a quick Google search. So when it comes to batteries, it's not just about having a stockpile. It's about knowing what types you need, how to store them, how to recharge them, and how to make them last. It's about understanding your power needs and planning accordingly. Remember, in a survival situation, power is more than just convenience. It can be the difference between life and death. And finally, let's not forget about wood. If you're bugging out to a remote location, you'll likely need fire for warmth, cooking, and maybe even protection. Or if you're well along in your prepping, you may have a gasifier you intend to fuel with wood. All of these uses will benefit you to have wood already stocked and in place at your bug out location. Knowing how to properly store and season wood is a great skill to go ahead and establish if you don't already have it. While I've touched upon some of the primary fuel types that are highly recommended for survival situations, it's important to understand that this list isn't exhaustive. There's a broad spectrum of potential energy sources available, each with its unique advantages and considerations. For instance, kerosene is another option that has been used for generations for heating and lighting. It's relatively safe to store and has a longer shelf life than gasoline. Solar power is also a viable option, particularly for charging small devices or powering light sources. While it depends heavily on weather conditions, it's a clean, renewable energy source that can be harnessed with the right equipment. Biofuels such as ethanol or biodiesel are also worth considering. They're renewable and can be produced locally in many cases, although their energy output isn't as high as some other options. And let's not forget about wind power. If you're in a location with consistent winds, a portable wind turbine could provide a valuable source of renewable energy. The key takeaway here is to diversify your energy sources as much as possible. It's crucial to research and understand the pros and cons of each option and how they fit into your specific survival scenarios and planning. By doing this, you can ensure you're as prepared as possible for any situation that arises. So there you have it, folks. Fuel is a multifaceted element of your bug out plan that requires careful consideration and regular maintenance. It's not just about having it, but making sure it's usable when you need it. That's it for this episode of the Modern Warrior Podcast. Remember, preparation is the key to survival. Stay ready, stay safe, and we'll catch you on the next episode.